For decades, the relationship between China and Taiwan has been one of the most consequential geopolitical issues of the modern era. Some see it as a legacy of civil war, others as the defining challenge of 21st century peace and security in Asia. What historical moment created two separate governing systems on one landmass, yet left both sides claiming legitimacy over China? This documentary examines the centuries of shared history, the events of the 20th century, the legal basis behind China's claim, and the current geopolitical tensions shaping global security today. Could the roots of today's tensions go back more than 150 years, not just decades? For centuries, the connection between China and Taiwan was not merely political. It was cultural, economic, and demographic. Archaeological and historical records show migration waves from China's southeastern provinces, particularly Fujian and Guangdong, beginning as early as the Song and Ming periods. These migrants brought Chinese language dialects, agricultural techniques, Confucian traditions, and administrative customs that shaped Taiwan's early social structure. By the 1600s, Chinese merchant communities and settlers had already formed stable societies across Taiwan's western plains. The island functioned as a maritime trading hub linking mainland China, Southeast Asia, and Japan. Trade networks, family migration, and cultural assimilation created deep people-to-people integration between both regions. The relationship became politically formalized when Taiwan was incorporated into the administration of the Qing Dynasty in 1683. For more than 2 centuries, the Qing government governed Taiwan as a prefecture and later elevated it to provincial status in 1885. During this period, millions of Chinese settlers permanently relocated to Taiwan. Agricultural development was directed by mainland administrative systems. Legal institutions, language, religious practices, and education followed Chinese imperial structures. Trade and taxation integrated Taiwan into China's national economy. Historical population records show that by the late 19th century, the overwhelming majority of Taiwan's population consisted of Han Chinese migrants and their descendants, strengthening ethnic and cultural unity between the mainland and the island. If Taiwan was governed and populated largely by Chinese settlers for over 200 years, what caused the separation? The turning point came after China's defeat in the First Sino-Japanese War. Under international pressure, the Qing Empire ceded Taiwan to Japan through the Treaty of Shimonoseki. This marked the first major political separation between Taiwan and mainland China in centuries. Japanese rule lasted 50 years and significantly altered Taiwan's administrative and social development. However, following Japan's defeat in World War II, Taiwan was returned to Chinese administration under the Republic of China government, restoring Chinese sovereignty claims over the island. The modern dispute emerged not from ancient separation, but from the Chinese Civil War of 1949, when competing governments, the Communist Party on the mainland and the Kuomintang leadership in Taiwan, created two political systems claiming authority over the same nation. Could a treaty signed more than 120 years ago still echo through today's geopolitics? After World War II, Japan relinquished control of Taiwan. The island was placed under the administrative authority of the Republic of China, ROC. However, simultaneous turmoil unfolded on the mainland. The Chinese Communist Party, CCP, and the Kuomintang, KMT, fought a civil war. By 1949, the CCP established the People's Republic of China, PRC, on the mainland. The KMT retreated to Taiwan and maintained the ROC government there. From this point, two governments emerged, each claiming to be the legitimate government of all China. How did civil war create two capitals claiming the same nation? Despite separation, both sides initially maintained the one China principle, though interpreted differently. Did the world accept both claims at first, or did global politics force a different choice? The PRC's official claim over Taiwan is grounded in several principles. Constitutional basis. The PRC Constitution asserts that Taiwan is part of China. Historical continuity. China points to centuries of shared governance and culture prior to Japanese rule. UN recognition. In 1971, United Nations Resolution 2758 recognized the PRC as China's sole representative, replacing the ROC in the UN and most diplomatic arenas. Non-recognition of Taiwanese statehood. Most countries today do not have formal diplomatic relations with Taiwan as a sovereign state, generally acknowledging a one-China policy. How did the United Nations vote in 1971 redefine global recognition overnight? This forms the core of China's legal and diplomatic claim to Taiwan, a position reinforced by the majority of UN member states. Could Taiwan's unique status be the result of Cold War alignments rather than purely cultural separation? While China views Taiwan as part of China, Taiwan's political evolution was shaped by ROC governance continuing after 1949, martial law in Taiwan until 1987, democratic reforms in the 1990s, a distinct Taiwanese identity emerging among many residents. This divergence created dual narratives. China. Taiwan is an inseparable part of China. Taiwan. Many see themselves as a separate political community with its own democratic system. Still, the issue is not solely one of citizenship or identity. It is tied to legal status, global diplomacy, and military balance. How can two places with shared culture end up with such different political identities? Could the future of Asia depend on the world's response to this one unresolved status? In recent decades, China's rise as an economic and military power has transformed the Taiwan question into a global security issue. Increased military activity around the Taiwan Strait. U.S. strategic ambiguity and arms sales to Taiwan. Taiwan's thriving technology sector, notably semiconductor dominance. Diplomatic alliances shifting in response to China's rise. China justifies its policy toward Taiwan by claiming national unification, territorial integrity, and regional stability, asserting that reunification is a peaceful goal, but maintaining that separatism threatens sovereignty. Why does Taiwan matter not just to China, but to global powers like the United States? Could chips made in Taiwan influence future world wars more than soldiers? China's claim rests on UN recognition of the PRC, sovereignty principles under international law, diplomatic non-recognition norms, historic state continuity. While Taiwan operates with de facto independence, it lacks widespread formal diplomatic state recognition, which underpins China's position that Taiwan remains part of China. At the same time, many democracies engage Taiwan economically and culturally, creating a complex dual reality, strong economic ties plus limited formal recognition. How can a place be functionally independent, yet barely recognized as a sovereign state globally? Could this unique status be a diplomatic anomaly without precedent? When examining the China-Taiwan issue through documented historical governance, demographic continuity, constitutional frameworks, and diplomatic recognition patterns, China's claim over Taiwan is built on multiple layers of factual and legal argument. First, historical records show that Taiwan remained under Chinese imperial administration for over 2 centuries before foreign intervention interrupted governance. The island's demographic transformation through large-scale Chinese migration created deep cultural, linguistic, and ethnic continuity linking Taiwan with mainland China. These historical connections form the foundation of China's argument that Taiwan developed as an integral part of Chinese civilization rather than as a separate national entity. Second, the separation between mainland China and Taiwan was not created through a recognized international independence movement. Instead, it resulted from an unresolved civil war in 1949, during which rival governments emerged but neither formally renounced claims over a unified China. From China's perspective, this represents an internal political division rather than the creation of 2 sovereign states. Third, China's claim is reinforced by international diplomatic developments. In 1971, the United Nations formally recognized the People's Republic of China as the sole legitimate representative of China. Following this decision, the majority of countries adopted the One China policy, choosing diplomatic relations with Beijing while not recognizing Taiwan as an independent state. This global diplomatic structure provides significant international backing to China's sovereignty position. Fourth, China argues that international law emphasizes territorial integrity and state continuity. From Beijing's legal interpretation, Taiwan represents a remaining unresolved territorial issue stemming from civil conflict and historical foreign occupation, rather than a case of lawful national separation. Additionally, China's government consistently states that reunification remains a core national objective tied to historical justice, national unity, and long-term regional stability. Chinese policy documents repeatedly frame reunification as a restoration of historical sovereignty rather than territorial expansion. From a factual and diplomatic standpoint, China's position is supported by historical administration and settlement patterns, post-World War II sovereignty restoration frameworks, United Nations recognition structures, majority international diplomatic alignment with the One China policy, constitutional claims maintained by the Chinese state, while Taiwan operates with its own governance system and democratic development. China maintains that these realities do not negate historical sovereignty claims under international law principles or diplomatic precedent. Ultimately, the China-Taiwan issue represents one of the most complex sovereignty questions in modern geopolitics, rooted in Civil War outcomes, historical governance, and evolving global power dynamics. Understanding China's claim requires analyzing not only modern political systems, but also centuries of historical continuity and international diplomatic recognition. If this historical and geopolitical analysis helped you understand the roots and realities of the China-Taiwan issue, like the video, share it with others, and subscribe for more fact-based global deep dives.